stuff.
So some of the coolest things we do, or we get to do, is we get to meet people from all over the industry, right?
Sir?
You and I, good brother, absolutely. You and I connected. We've talked many of times.
Yep.
And you know, it's something, a place like this where we can get together and finally meet and put a face to the name.
It's nice.
And
It's finally about time. You too.
Yeah.
I've seen you all over the place.
I know.
and like hug it out, you know, for sure. Steve, give me a little background about yourself, brother. How much do you love the fire service? Where do you come from?
Sure, love it a lot. So I am currently lieutenant in D.C. I work Truck 6, and I've been in the fire service now in D.C. 15 years. Actually, we just hit our 15-year anniversary today, so that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Class almost there. 10 more to go.
Nice.
And then but 20 years total. I started at PG County in Bladensburg. And,
Yeah.
So I've been there for a while, and you know, I love it, man. It's like
Real
just
trucks
being
bend in
able
the
to-
middle. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. High five on that one. Real trucks do bend in the middle. You know, it's been an interesting ride so far. I mean, it's nice to meet people and get out and do training with everybody, and come out to events like this and just get different backstories about how people's departments do things and how they train and what they're looking for in individuals. And so it's been a great experience so far.
You had the opportunity to teach.
I did, yeah.
Talk about that experience.
Yeah, what did you teach?
Yeah, so I just finished a class this morning called Make Truck Work Great Again.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and the whole purpose of the class was really just to kind of hammer down on some of the fundamentals that come along with being responsible in a truck company, being on an aggressive truck company, but also shying away from the activities that some would, call cowboyish or uncoordinated. And I really think that, even if you just take the essentials classes, the information that they give in essentials isn't really indicative of everything that a truck company should be doing. And I honestly don't think that the amount of work that a truck can do to affect the outcome of a fire is discussed very often.
Having been a volunteer in Hyattsville at Company 1, I've learned so much from some of the DC truckmen that have come through there. And the tips, tricks, and hacks that you guys have in DC, I cannot remember the guy's name, but I remember him telling me, hey, if you're hooking can, bring an extra hook or two with you, because once the barman forces the door in this garden style apartment, we're going to want to do something, and we're not going to want to use a Halligan bar to hook the ceiling. So
yeah, that's 100% correct. There's been a lot of guys like, I love to teach, but I don't want to take credit for anything. It's, I think with everybody, everything you learn has come from someone somewhere, different level of experience, different calls they run. And I've been fortunate in my career to work with a lot of great guys and learn a lot of really cool tips and tricks. And, through the course of my career, I'll come up with a couple things here and there that I'm like, oh, we can change this up, maybe do a little differently. But most of the time, it's like the senior guys that are coming down with like great information that we can pass down. I mean, like one of the things, I actually didn't get a chance to talk about it today in the class just because of the time. We're limited to an hour and 45 minutes, so you got to kind of shorten it down. But I got some information from a gentleman who retired one time. We were just having a long discussion about basement fires and row houses. And as simple as that seems of a conversation, one of the questions he asked me when I was like fairly new on the job was, you're the barman on a ladder truck, first due on a basement fire, what are you going to do? So in my head, as a young guy, I'm like, I'm going to force the door.
Yeah.
He's like, awesome, cool, force the door, then what? And I'm like, search. He's like, no. I'm like, vent. He's like, no. So I'm like, man, what does he want me to do? Well, he was on the job when Cherry Road happened, back when we lost our two firefighters in '99. So what he was telling me was, if you're riding bar in a ladder truck, once you get in the house, you got to go to the first floor rear, because in our SOGs, the second due truck's responsible for the basement. So if you don't open up the first floor rear, the second due truck's not opening up the first floor rear. Who's doing it? It comes up the stairs, it's going to come through the path that you came in, which is the front door. So it's like little stuff like that I've been able to take, put into a class, talk to people about, and just kind of get people to kind of think about how their actions can dictate the outcome of the fireground.
What fuels your love for that? Like, what fuels your love for training and pushing yourself, and then wanting to put yourself out there to share the message?
Honestly, it's the look of wow when you see that on someone's face, because that's the look that I had when guys told me stuff like that. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't be half of where I am now in my career if it wasn't for people going out of their way, trying to do it without recognition, without anything else, no fanfare, but without those guys going out of their way to better me, out of their own time with no additional compensation or anything like that, then that kind of fuels me to give back. It's like I've had so many people help me along the way, and I'm like, I just want to give back to that.
Steve, you you're a member of Bladensburg. You remember
Yeah.
Bladensburg, right? Did you start out as a live-in there, or?
I did start out as a living there. So I was at Cottage City for a little bit.
Okay.
And then when Cottage City went to Brentwood, I went over to Bladensburg and lived in there.
Can you talk about like the importance of these live-in programs? Because I think
Yeah.
it's something. It's still the best kept secret in America. On the
So
fire
I
service.
got a ton of experience living at the firehouse.
Sure.
And I can't even, I mean, we went all volunteer in '04. So, I mean, if you figure you're there after work, you know, I was there during the week and there on weekends, you're running box after box after box and whatever else. And you start to understand what teamwork is, cohesion, discipline. You know, you start learning from guys that have more time than you. You got younger guys coming in, so now you got to step up and help teach them. And so living in there was my first really experience at being in a disciplined, well-run firehouse.
Yeah.
And so being able to take that and then go into an academy and then become
Yes.
a career firefighter, it was almost, I don't want to knock the academy, but it was easy. You know, it was fun. You got to go in there and just, you know, get to the firehouse and continue the same thing that you've been doing. Obviously, when you get hired, you got to drop the whole volunteer thing. We don't care where you were, where you're, you know, stuff like that. But you know, it was a good experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, it's great.
I think one of the craziest things that I learned was company pride being at one, because I remember going to 7 boxes and seeing 1 and 9, and I remember the first time I was facing somebody from 9, and they just were like, keep going, keep going, and we had that, but that healthy competition made us better firefighters.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sharpen that
And I don't
edge.
want to name drop guys from one either, but Dave Smith and Nick Bedsall, both of those individuals, were both in my academy class.
Dave Smith's a good friend of mine. I love the guy. He is a solid brother, and
so it was awesome to get to go through the academy with them. And Dave's actually truck driver in my battalion now, different shift. But so yeah, I run into him every now and then. And Nick is on my shift. So we run in the same battalion, so we run runs together all the time, and it's cool to like grow up with those guys when we were like little kids, and you know, now we're old men with gray hair and balding and a whole lot. You know, it's good. So
awesome.
Yeah, man.
What's next for you?
Next up, I'm gonna do some writing. Champ got in my head this morning, and he was slamming it down my throat about writing some more articles. So
good for you.
Definitely gonna do that and do some more teaching. You know, I got a guy this morning. I told him if it's with my schedule with my kids and everything and work, I don't mind teaching. I don't do it for a bunch of money and everything else. I'm like, if you pay for my flight or hotel or whatever, I'll come out and do it. I don't care. As long as somebody gets something from the class, and as long as I can, you know, work it into my kids' schedules as a dad, then I'm all about it, man.
I love it.
We're gonna make truck work.
We're gonna make truck work great again. That's what we're gonna do.
Well, listen, thank you. You know, it's great to finally meet you after through lots of conversation and so on. I'm sure this won't be our last interaction.
Absolutely
for sure. Real quick, where can people find you? They want to reach out? They
you want to reach out, you can find me.
Truck work great again?
You can find me on Instagram. That's the easiest way. It's 6 Truck Boss, all spelled out. So there's also a Truck 6 Boss. That's not me. That's my friend Chuck. So don't ask him. He won't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, awesome. 6 Truck Boss, Facebook. I'm sorry, not Facebook. Instagram or Twitter or via email. It's truckman14570@gmail.com.
Awesome.
So,
Steve, thank you for joining us, man.
Absolutely, bro.
Pleasure.
Appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
man. Enjoy your time.
You guys be safe.
Yeah.